I stumbled upon a YouTube video with a headline so blatantly false, smearing Canada, Canadians, and claiming a fictional tantrum by our Prime Minister Mark Carney that I was stunned. My curiosity led me into one of the most disgusting misinformation rabbit holes I've ever seen. This wasn't just typical political spin, it was a cynical and slickly produced cesspool of deliberate, triple-twisted facts and malicious lies. The formula is simple. Use a catchy, outrageous lie as bait, then spend 20 minutes bombarding viewers with a gut-turning stream of warped nonsense designed to completely distort reality. And the most infuriating part? This isn't even driven by a twisted political belief. No, it is a cold, calculated scheme purely for monetization. They are profiting and legitimizing pure unadulterated deception, exploring their audience's trust for nothing but viewer numbers and watch hour. It is utterly reprehensible. I hardly made it through their disgusting video. I was so pissed. This old German-Canadian water kettle was steaming, whistled on all pipes, and then it hit me. Yes, sure, what I was watching is the disgusting hunt for views and watch hours. But there is so much more. When I realize what it is, I felt the peace of the Canadian Rocky Mountains. They are afraid. Americans are scared. Their ass is below Canadian permafrost right now. Their border towns are dying. Cities like New York and Las Vegas have empty hotel beds to a level like never seen before. Florida lives off tourism, but tourism is gone, and the dead snowbird season is about to start. I knew I had to show you that video, but I have a huge problem with that idea of sending a single one of my viewers their way, giving them the engagement and the appearance of legitimacy they so desperately crave. Here's the video of this American gaslighting channel, who, by the way, pretends to be a Canadian creator with a big Canadian and a maple leaf in its name, but has an American YouTube registration, plus their content speaks for itself. Like I said, an American gaslighting channel. So folks, fasten your seatbelt everyone. It's going to be a very bumpy ride and frankly infuriating. Let's dive right in.
All of Canada's provinces have now said no to American alcohol. But the maker of Jack Daniel's is calling the Canadian response disproportionate, saying it's worse than a tariff because it's literally taking your sales away, completely removing products from the shelves. Despite protesting the removal, the company's CEO says they can take the hit because Canada represents just 1% of its total sales.
Canadians just woke up to news that sucks for many. Jack Daniel's, the legendary Tennessee whiskey, one of the most recognizable American exports, had suddenly vanished from store shelves. This was a deliberate pull, part of a broader boycott meant to strike back at U.S. tariffs. Provincial liquor boards had hoped to make a statement to show strength against Washington, but within days the strategy is backfiring terribly. Bars are struggling to fill orders, regular customers are now being left empty-handed, and the social media feed, is on fire. It's lighting up all over the place with frustration and disbelief. What was meant to be a display of power is quickly becoming a nationwide embarrassment. Canadians aren't just missing their favorite whiskey, they're witnessing the consequences of a government that overplayed its hand, and the fallout is turning out to be immense, and it's only just begun. Prime Minister Mark Carney framed the move as a bold strike, a signal that Canada would not bend under pressure from Trump's tariffs. On paper, sure, it sounds nice. In practice, the impact is immediate and brutal. Jack Daniels and other U.S. spirits disappeared almost overnight, leaving liquor stores staring at empty shelves and bars struggling to find substitutes. Domestic alternatives are, trying to fill the void, but they weren't enough to satisfy thirsty customers. Orders are being delayed, regular routines disrupted, and there's a sense of normalcy that is now gone. The backlash is more than just logistical. It's personal. Canadians feel like they're pawns in a political game, paying the price for a symbolic strike that was never meant to affect their wallets. Business owners are warning of lost revenue and layoffs, while distributors are facing mounting pressure to use what they can find. Headlines are beginning to paint a picture of chaos. What had been intended as a show of resolve is turning into a story of embarrassment, one that's leaving Carney furious, frustrated, and struggling to contain the fallout. While Canadians are dealing with empty shelves and frustrated customers, Trump is having a very different morning. The sun is shining. From his perspective, the tariffs are doing exactly what he wants. Jack Daniels' disappearance from stores isn't, really doing anything to the U.S. It's proof that America has the upper hand and Trump can just sit back, raise a glass, and point to the headlines and the photos of empty shelves, and showing a sign that Canada's counterpunch sucks and it's backfiring. Meanwhile, Canada is left looking frantic. What was supposed to be a strong move is now coming across as chaotic. The contrast is huge. Trump is calm, collected, in control. Canada is scrambling and trying to figure out what to do.
So, what you have heard up to this point is all he has to say. However, in typical fishing for watch hours, he repeats this whole story another 3 times. Slightly different words, but the same BS. Canadian liquor stores have nothing but empty shelves. And Canadians are devastating because they have no alcohol to drink. And restaurants have nothing to serve their poor customers. Our Prime Minister Mark Carney is a total failure, by the way, and Canadians are opposing him for his inadequate leadership. But Trump, the orange idiot, just sits in the White House, sips down his Diet Coke, relaxes with a smile on his fat face, and enjoys the show. Did you guys note that this person has nothing to back up his story? But we do. Here at Europe Curious, we deal with facts, live in reality, and we bring the receipts to the meeting. So let's put some value onto what he said, shall we? There is a very powerful force silently rising off the ground, and it's called grassroots. And it started right here in awesome Canada. In April, when the Trump terror started, Canadians stopped buying American. Slogan like BABA or BABA, buy anything but American, appeared. Customers literally forced grocery store owners, hang on, I just want to make sure that the orange idiot understands what I'm saying. Grocery store. So customers literally forced the owner of grocery stores to clearly mark Canadian products, so no one would buy the American stuff.
They went ahead and they added Made in Canada labels permanently onto the bags.
And then, quickly the Canadian government, our government, picked up on it and took American booze off the shelves.
American staples like wine, beer, and spirits have seen the biggest change being wiped off Canadian shelves. Earlier this year, multiple Canadian provinces announced they were pulling American alcohol from their store shelves. And in March, Canada imposed a 25% tariff on all U.S. alcohol products. A 25% tariff on distilled spirit imports from Mexico and Canada could cost more than 31,000 U.S. jobs.
So we're in our wine section now. Our wine business, roughly 35-40% of our red wine sales is California cabs and blends. So that's $60,000 a week in sales that are just gone. They've evaporated from the United States. We're replacing it, and we're replacing it with import wines from France, from South Africa, from Australia, from New Zealand.
In 2024, Canada was the U.S.'s top export market for alcohol, exporting $435 million worth of wine, $221 million in distilled spirits, and $41 million in beer to Canada. The loss to the U.S. is a boon to Canada, with the Buy Canada movement adding roughly $10 billion to the country's economy.
The exports of U.S. wine to Canada are virtually down to zero, or they're closing in.
Next, Canadians stopped traveling to the US.
Canadians, by and large, avoiding spending on U.S. vacations.
Everything from the day trips to buying less groceries across into Washington State, or going to do a weekend trip to Seattle, or just their family holidays they're not doing anymore.
The numbers go deeper. Spending is down 47% in Washington State. In the U.S. as a whole, it's down 1/3. Online shopping at U.S. retailers has dropped by 14%, with the biggest drop in clothing purchases.
What's really interesting from our perspective is this is really hard dollars data. Our members, we have almost 600,000 of them, are spending significantly less in the U.S. A year-over-year change of that magnitude is would have been unthinkable a year ago.
Experts say the downturn matches the drop in cross-border traffic. Crossings into Whatcom County are down roughly 40%. The holdback of Canadian customers is having an impact on businesses along the I-5 corridor. What's unusual about this downturn is how sharp the decline was and how consistent Canadians have been with their preferences to spend elsewhere.
And get this, the US, which was the biggest player in travel and tourism worldwide, is literally the only country out of 184 assessed countries that expected to see a drop in international visitor spending in 2025. Yep. America's tourism is in serious trouble. It is projected that the US travel industry will lose over $12.5 billion this year alone, and it's going to get even worse. The effect is felt in major cities and rural towns all over the nation. And we Canadians are proud to have started the sorry but no sorry economic rebellion. Grocery aisles? The Canadian middle finger to American products. Cross-border travel? Poof! Nuked. Overall, the losses to American economy due to this boycott that has started right here in Canada, 29 billion US. You're welcome, MAGA. And we, the Canadian people and our government, have no intention to stop this boycott anytime soon.
Doug Ford says his province isn't backing down from its ban on American alcohol anytime soon. That despite calls from a U.S. liquor group to put American booze back on Canadian shelves.
If there's a deal, another USMCA deal, which I don't think is going to happen for the next few months, but you never know with President Trump. He could pull the carpet out from underneath us in a heartbeat like he has before, or they get rid of their tariffs, and then we'll bring the booze back into the LCBO. And if they don't, then they aren't getting any booze on our shelves.
No matter what any idiot from an American gaslighting channel says. Look how cute this guy, Chris Swanger, President and CEO of the Distilled Spirit Council of the United States, tried to wiggle himself in a pretzel here. I almost feel sorry for that man.
It's providing economic harm, no doubt, to American distillers who love the Canadian people and want to export their great brands and share these great distilled spirits products with Canadian people.
And here is the reason why Chris Swanger is so polite and friendly.
And our business has been impacted by 65% here in the United States. But
how about another voice for a change? And I'm sure you know at least one of the faces here.
Of how tariffs have hit the bourbon industry based on CEOs you've spoken with.
It's worse than just the tariffs. Tariffs would just be adding a cost to Kentucky bourbon. In Canada, they're just not ordering it. They've got whole shelves where they're not serving it.
But Kentucky distillers...
Canada is our biggest export country. We send about $100 million worth of spirits, most of which is bourbon, there every year.
And just to make sure I don't leave any lie unaddressed, Did you note the stupid statement? Yeah, Jack Daniels confirmed the 62% drop, but it means nothing, since the sale of bourbon is only 1% of its overall revenue. Again, a lie. A report by CBC News says the company behind Jack Daniels says boycott is significant, as sales to Canada fell 62%. And it's unclear how much the 62% drop in sales translates into dollars. But the company's total sales were down 3% for a quarter. Not one. But why dwell in details, right? So guys, how do you feel so far? Are you as pissed as I was? Nothing in his story is real. However, it is impossible for me to contradict here every single lie of this pathetic video. It would make for a very long video on my part. But this video here, I made a little while ago, lays it all out. The pain our buy anything but American and don't travel to the US boycott has inflicted to American businesses. So, I would like to encourage you to watch it right after you finish this video here. It will make you feel so much better. The link to the video will show up at the end of this video, but is also down in the description below. But just to reiterate here for a quick second, we imposed a 25% tariff on US alcohol products. This action threatens 31,000 American jobs, not Canadian. Last year, Canada was the biggest export market for US alcohol. We imported over $435 million worth of wine, 221 million in distilled spirits and 41 million in beer. Even though I'm not quite sure who drinks that shit. The German speaking here. So all that money is lost to the US. But in the very same time, the Baba movement, by anything but American, meant 10 billion to our economy. Combine the Stop Buying American movement with the gigantic impact the Canadian Don't Travel to the US movement has, and you know, it kicks ass. American ass. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I totally forgot. Despite all of that, the orange fascist gangster sits in the White House, relaxes with a smile on his face, sips on his disgusting Diet Coke, and is so very happy. Yeah, sorry, I kinda forgot. Yeah, right. What a fucking bullshit that is. He sits there and is so fucking happy. So yes, guys, rest assured, our boycott has a huge impact and the pain is felt all over the US. Like I said earlier, unlike this American gaslighting channel, we Canadians are dealing in reality. And part of this reality is that no matter how impactful our boycott is, we can't stop paying attention. We can't stop doing our part, boycotting American products and destinations. So please let me know in the comments below how you feel about this American gaslighting channel. And yes, there are others too. This is not the only one. I read every single thought and story you share. For more real news, facts and viewpoints to counterbalance the demagogic of the right-wing media, please like and subscribe. It goes a long way to help the channel. Till next time, I'm Wilfried Lemkuler from Europe Curious.
We spent so many nights thinking how you did us wrong. Now we've banded all together. Your tariff made us strong, and so you know you're not so great. Now Weren't you the one who instigated these trade fights? You'll soon grow to regret it when we turn off your lights and the as long as we can think and what we know will stay alive. We have all we really need. We can live without your greed. We will survive. We will survive. There's been a trend. It's time anew. We're not that fledgling little country stealing all of you. We are now a nation proud that is happy to be free. You didn't realize you gave us our own identity, so now just go. We will survive. As long as we can think and work, we know we'll stay alive. Yeah, but all we really need, we can live without your greed. We will survive. We will survive. We will survive.
51st state, my fucking ass. Go on, Canada.